Hello again, our most valued student. My name is Confident. Welcome to our revision session, and we are looking at Mathematics N1 paper, and this particular paper was written in August. It is dated 23 July. It was supposed to be written on the 23rd of July, but it ended up being written in August as a result of the COVID. Now, a few requirements just before we begin this particular video. What we are going to do here, we are going to look at this full paper. This is the suggested answers that I'm going to provide you here, and we are going to look at how you would have approached this paper and how you can use it as a revision as you prepare for your final exams. And this particular paper, as I said, it comes as a full complete paper from the first question to the last question in a single go. So I'm going to go through it and give you some of the ways you can use and some strategies, some concepts that you can use as you also go through your N1. Some of you are going through N2 and up to N3, even up to N6. So this can be a good foundation as you do your revision. And also, just to remind you guys, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I'll encourage you to go to our YouTube channel on the 24-minute lesson, subscribe to our channel, as well as share the channel with your friends and your colleagues so that they can also benefit from the channel, as we've got a lot of videos that you can use as you prepare for your final exams. Most of the videos, I take previous papers. Sometimes I bring some content which I think is very, very useful for you in each subject. It can be in Mathematics N1 up to N4. It can be in grade 7 up to grade 12. But whatever content you find there can be very beneficial for you. And also, we have quite a lot of resources. If you want to purchase our mathematics textbook, it's called Maths N1 for the underdogs. You can also do so on our Take-A-Lot platform, where you can purchase it, and though that textbook comes already with videos. So what happens is, when you purchase the book, you will see a code. In that code that you'll find, you will send us an email. There are all the instructions that you need to do. Send us an email with the code that you're going to get after receiving your book, and that code will then enable us to log you into our online videos that you can access until you write your exams. You'll be registered from up to 3 to 6 months, and it gives you all free access to every video. It's a full curriculum of Mathematics N1, so you get access to all the videos. It gives you a good foundation, and you can use that also as you prepare for your exams. So the method that I'm using here, you'll discover that sometimes I summarize some of the things. It is because already they are covered in that textbook, which I will encourage you to grab hold of. Alright, so let's look at this paper. As we said, so we will need a graph paper later, and we are going to use our calculator, which is a Casio that I'm using. It says this question paper consists of 6 pages and a formula sheet of 2 pages. It's always good to go through the formula sheet just to check what the formula sheet comprises of. Alright, and then let us go through a few instructions again. And as you say, this is a Department of Higher Education and Training paper. It's a national certificate. You might be working towards a national certificate, so this is one of the required subject, Mathematics N1. It's a 3-hour paper, and it is out of 100 marks. So some students, I emphasized in the previous review of this paper to say, they ask, does this mean there is no contribution of my tasks or your test that you're writing? And I said, you must rely on your final mark more than the task, because the way they are adding those marks at the moment, it is very, very unclear. It is sketchy. It is not something that you can rely on. I will encourage you, stick to the passing this paper out of 100, and you'll be all right. So let us look at the instruction. It says, answer all the questions, which we are going to do so. Read all the questions carefully. We will do that. Number the answers according to the numbering system used in this paper. This is very important. Don't come with your own numbering. keep the subsections of questions together. That is very important. Start each question on a new page. So whenever you're starting a new page, begin on each question. If you're starting a new question, begin that on a new page. Use black or blue pen. Please don't use any Tipex. It is not allowed. Do not use any markers, any coloring pens. These are not allowed. In as much as you want your work to look neat and beautiful and presentable, but don't use any pen beside the black and the blue pen. If you make an error, just neatly with a ruler scratch out. It will be understood. If you use a Tipex, it will be not allowed. So don't use any Tipex, just scratch out. Even if you are entering your ID number or your center number or any of the numbers in the front page, please don't use any Tipex. And then it says round off final answers to 3 decimal places. We're going to remember that one. So remember, all our answers will be to 3 decimal places unless indicated otherwise. And then answer question 5.3 on a graph paper. We are going to use the graph paper in this computer so that we can answer the question paper. And then it says number 9, we need to write neatly and legible. So I'll try as much as possible to be neat with my work. So now, without wasting time, let us start by looking at each question. And the first one is, I'm looking at question number 1. So that's what I'm having. It says simplify each of the following without a calculator by using exponential laws. So what I have, let me just take this out and the mark allocation so that we can look at it individually. So this is what I'm having here. I'm supposed to simplify each of the following without a calculator, and I'm using exponential laws. I hope this is clear in your as you're watching this, because the pages are a bit tessellating. Now what I'm having here, let's write what I'm given. I'm given b to the power of 3, and then in brackets I have got a plus c, and then it's times b to the power of 3. I'm given minus a minus c. So this is what I'm given, and I'm supposed to simplify without a calculator there, and it is 4 marks, as you can see here. That's the mark allocation. So what you need to understand is that these exponents, it's more like I have a bracket there, and the 3 will multiply and the 3 will multiply. Similarly, it's the same thing that is happening on the other side. This 3 will multiply and that 3 will multiply. So if I simplify that, this will be equal to b. Now 3 times a, it's exponent 3a, plus 3 times c, it's exponent 3c. And then I've got times again, which is b. 3 times minus a, it's negative 3a. And then 3 times minus c is negative 3c. So this is what I'm having. And if I simplify further, now I'm going to use my laws. Remember, laws of exponents, which say if I'm given a to the power of x times b to the power of y, times a to the power of y, I mustn't change the base. The base must be the same. So it's a to the power of y. Now, if these bases are the same, just like I'm having a b and a b there, so if these bases are the same, what it means is you write that base, and then because of the multiplication sign, you add, which will be x plus y. You add the exponents. So this is the first law of exponents. So similarly, I've got b and b, so it will be b to the power 3a plus 3c. Then I'm adding the other exponents, plus minus 3a minus 3c. So I'm just adding that, and you can see that the positive will not have a any effect on that negative. If I collect like terms, it is 3a. So if I look, that is the a part and that is the a part. So it's 3a minus 3a. And then after that one, if you check, I've got the c and the c there, which is plus 3c minus 3c. I hope you see that. Then if I continue this, you can see 3a minus 3a is 0, 3c minus 3c is 0. So I'm getting 0. The answer therefore is b to the power of 0. But you know, any number to the power of 0, it is a 1. So it doesn't matter whatever number you have. But if it is to the power of 0, for example, 5, 4, 7, that to the power of 0, it becomes a 1. So hence, the answer to that, its symbol becomes a 1. So that is that part. You get your 4 marks if you did it properly. Let's look at the next one. Now, the next one is question 1.2. We are looking at that. We are done with the first one. Again, say simplify each of the following without a calculator by using exponential laws. Now we are looking at the 3 marks. If I look at that again, I've got x cubed y squared divided by y x squared times xy over 2. So this is what I'm given, and you just need to be sensitive with how you do your working in this case. For example, the division sign, you must start with the division sign. So you begin from that point. Now, what does the division sign in a way mean? It means what you are having is you are having x cubed in this case. So don't multiply yet. Deal with that division sign. So it's x cubed y squared. I'm using, if you remember, we have got BODMAS, and division starts before multiplication, if you still remember. So it's x cubed y squared. Now divided, I will use in a way to say, actually let me just use the laws of exponents now. I can use, because they say exponential laws. If I have another method is coming like this, to say if I have a to the power of x divided by a to the power of y, this is equal to a to the power of x minus y. See that? So if I can focus for now on this part, what I have now, also bearing in mind the different exponents, so I will have x to the power of 3. Now if I look at that x and that x, it will be 3 minus 2. I hope you see that. And then y is y to the power of 2. Now if I'm not given any exponent, that means there is a 1. Minus 1 times xy over 2. I'll do another method just to see if the answer is the same. So x3 minus 2, this is equal to x to the power of 1, y to the power of 1, and then I have times xy over 2. And then if I continue doing that, now I have got x times x is the first law. Remember the first law, which was a to the power of x times a to the power of y. Multiplication means it's a to the power of x plus y. So now I've got the x there, so it will be x to the power of 1 plus 1, because there is a 1 there, and then y to the power of 1 plus 1, because there is also a 1 there, all over 2. Then if I simplify, it will be x to the power of 2, y to the power of 2 over 2. So this is what I'm having in this case. So let me write my answer there, just to keep it for now, just to see if ever another method was going to give me a similar answer. So this is what I'm having, x2 y2 over 2. If I was solving it in another fashion or in another method, I have in this case x to the power of 3 y squared divided by y x squared times xy over 2. So let's say I was solving it differently. I would have said x to the power of 3 y 2 over y x squared. For now it's y x squared, that is that divided by, times xy over 2. Are you seeing that? So in the reason why I didn't follow up with this method, it was more like it's not using exponential laws in a way, but it's still gonna work, because when I take the x to the top, now I will have x to the power of 3 times x to the power of negative 2. And then which exponential law I'm using? I'm using this law which says, remember this was my answer here, which says 1 over a to the power of m is equal to a to the power of negative m. So when this m goes to the top, it becomes negative. So that's what I'm using there. And then at the same time, I have got dot y squared times y to the power, the 1 becomes negative 1, times xy over 2. Then when I simplify that, I now add the first law, that which is same base, x3 plus minus 2 y 2 plus minus 1, and then you see there is an x also there, okay, which I will have said, actually look at this, let me erase this. Look, I've got the x, I have a power 1 there as an x, which is plus 1, and then dot y, which is 2 plus minus 1 plus, there is another 1 there. Are you seeing that? All over 2. Then this becomes now 3 minus 2, which is 1, 1 plus 1, which is x squared, and then y minus 1 plus 1 cancels, and y squared, and that one, everything divides by 2. So you see that the answer that I'm getting was still maintained. This one says 1.2. You are supposed to simplify without a calculator by using logarithmic laws, and also it's 4 marks. You can see that this is 4 marks there. It says minus 5 log 5 1 over 25. So if I can write it down, let's forget about that now, and say what we're given is minus 5 log base 5. So I've got minus 5 log base 5 of 1 over 25. Let's just cross check if everything is fine. Minus 5 log 5 says simplify out without a calculator. So guys, when they say I must not use a calculator but I must use logarithmic laws, what I need to do is to take the calculator, that is the first thing, and see what is the answer. So it's minus 5 log base 5, and then there is 1 over 25. See that? And the answer is 10. So in here, I must see how they managed to get the answer is equal to 10. So I must work towards this answer. Pretend I don't know the answer, but use the laws of logarithm to get that particular answer. So equal to minus 5 log, the first thing, base 5 is to match 25 in terms of 5. Remember 25 is 5 squared, so it's 1 over 5 squared. And I think I've already mentioned this law, which says if I'm given 1 over a to the power of m and I want to take it to the top, so it becomes a to the power negative m. You see, the fraction has gone and it is replaced by that negative. Same thing here, if I take this to the top, it will be equal to minus 5 log base 5, and then it's 5 to the power negative 2. That's the first part. Okay, and then when I'm dealing with logs, again, there is a law of logarithms which say if I'm given log, just say b to the power of a, just like that. Now this particular a can drop down so that it becomes a log b. That's the first part, number 1. Number 2, what if there is already c log b to the power of a? So because there is c already, nothing changes. This a drops, but when it drops, it becomes c times a, put it in brackets, log b, which is what we're having in this scenario. So what happens is this negative 2, it must drop, and when it comes here to multiply. So this is equal to minus 5 times negative 2 in brackets. Then you've got log base 5 of 5. Again, it's a small question, but it's got a lot of laws that are involved. There is another law which says if I have got log base a of a, when the base and the number is the same, you just get a 1. Okay, so for example, if I say log base 36 of 36, it just gives me a 1. So you see here I've got log base 5 of 5, so this will be a 1. So what I will have is, in this case, equal to minus 5 times minus 2, and then log base 5 of 5 is times 1, so it becomes a 1, and then minus 5 times minus 2 is simple equal to 10, proving the answer that I got there to say this must simple give me a 10. So that was the answer there. And let's go to the next question. It says 1.3, solve for x without using a calculator. Important one. They still don't want me to use a calculator, but you know, if I can use it, I will use it, or I will test with a calculator to see if ever the answer it proves. I didn't manage to prove that one, but we'll come back to that at another stage. But now let's try this one. It says log 5x minus 5 is equal to 2. So if I do this, let's erase and have a new page. What we have here is log 5, if I'm correct, and then it's 5x minus 5 in brackets. 5x, is it minus 5 or minus 15? It's log bracket, log in base 5, 5x minus 15 is equal to 2. So how many marks is this? It's 4 marks. So it's a good mark allocation. I mean 4 marks. Then in total you will have that 15 marks. So how do you do that? It's the laws of exponential equations here. So there is a law which says if I have got log in base x of b is equal to, let's say, a. So now how do I remove the log? If I drop the log, this is what happens. I'll write the b first to say b is equal to, then the x becomes the exponent, and then it is a to the power of x. So you see the base here, it becomes the exponent there. Similarly, that's what I'm going to use here. This 5, this particular 5 will go there, and then what I'll be having is 5x minus 15 is equal to 2 to the power of 5. I think that I need to find what is 2 to the power of 5. Now 2 to the power of 5 is equal to 32. So I've got 5x minus 15 is equal to 32. Now take 15 to join the other number 32. I've got 5x is equal to 32. Now 15 is negative, it becomes positive 15. So 5x is equal to, add 15 and 32, 5 plus 2 is 7, 3 plus 4, 1 is 4. So it's 7, it's 47. Divide by 5, alright, and divide by 5. Are you seeing that? And then what you have is x is equal to 47 over 5. You rarely get these, but let's test it and see what it gives us. Remember, x is 47 over 5, so I want to test it in that part. We have a calculator and say log base 5 of 5 times, remember x is 47 over 5. Are you getting that? Minus 15, it must give me a 2, equal to, it's giving me actually 2, it's what is 2,153. Let me just check again if I edit this thing properly. I said 32 plus 15, which is 47. Let me actually work on this again. It's actually the law was done wrong here. Let me correct this. Apologies. Let me correct this. This is, the law says, I just mixed up the law here. Remember, I have got log in base of x of b is equal to a. So how do I do that? So b is equal to, not becoming an exponent, is equal to x to the exponent a. So this becomes the exponent, that becomes the base. So let's correct that. This is the law. So when I use it here, it will be, in this case, 5x minus 15 is equal to 5 to the power of 2. So please correct that one. That is the proper way, because you saw that I tried to test that, it didn't even work. So that is fine. You know, sometimes you make these errors and then you need to come back and see where am I missing it. So this is the proper way of application. The x is the one that is the base and the a is the one that is the exponent. And then after that, you are going to have 5x minus 15, then 5 squared is 25. Then after that, take 15 to the other side. We have 5x is equal to 25 plus 15, which is 5x is equal to 5 plus 5 is 10, 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. Remember, 25 plus 15 is 40. Then at this stage, it's 5x, I divide by 5 is equal to 40. You also divide by 5. And what we have, our x is equal to 5 into 40 is 8. So that is the value of x. So here, x is equal to 8. So that is what we need to test. So if I test that to say log in base 5, alright, and then it's 5 times 8 minus 15, it must give me a 2. So this now is correct, it's giving me a 2. So the testing of the answers, guys, I emphasize it time and again. Ensure you test your answers. Even if you make an error, you are able to correct those errors. Remember, it's easy sometimes to just mix up one or two things there and there, but you need to test your answers wherever possible. Alright, so we are done with question number 1, 15 marks. Let's go to question number 2. Now, question 2, I think I can have it together like that. If I can take it and work on it like we did previously, and then see what it gives us. So this is what we have. I hope it does fit. Okay, so this is what we say is divide that. We're given this scenario, we need to divide this by that. All right, so what I have here, I have like that. So I've got x plus 2, right? And then I'm dividing it by, now I want you to see carefully this particular scenario that I'm having here. This is mixed up. They gave me 26x minus 24 plus 8x cubed plus 35x squared. This, they mixed it up. So what I need to do is to arrange it properly. And how do you arrange it properly? You need to arrange it in such a way that you start with the highest power of x. So here, number 1 is the 8x cubed. That is then number 2, which is x squared. That is number 3 with x. And then that is number 4 with the number. So you remember that. So it will be 8x cubed. And then is plus 35x squared is plus 26x. You can see the numbers and the signs, maintain the signs, and then it's minus 24. Always maintain your signs. Then when you have done that, it's 7 marks. Think of it. I mean, this is a good 7 marks, you know. This is very good. So you can get good marks from that. So let us work on this thing like this. If I've got this and it's a long division, how do I work on that? The first things first, what you do, you take the 8x cubed, you divide it by that x. All right, so over x, so the x cancels x into x cubed. There is 3 of them, 2 of them will remain. So you write that particular x squared on top to say this is 8x squared. Then the 8x squared will multiply that. So when it does that, what you're saying is, you are saying 8x squared multiplying x plus 2. Seeing that? So that the 8x squared will open that and you distribute like that. That times that is 8x cubed, it gives us back, and then 8x squared times 2, 8 times 2 is 16x squared. So this is the one that you're going to write down there to say 8x cubed plus 16x squared. See that, guys? From there you rule off, put a negative, open the brackets like that. So you're going to say 8x cubed minus 8x cubed. So it's 8x cubed minus 8x cubed. It gives us a 0. There is nothing. And then 35x squared minus 16x squared. So in essence, it's 35 minus 16, which will give us 19. So I'm going to have 19x squared here. Then you drop down what you are seeing there. Let's make it a bit shorter. I drop down plus 26. So it will be plus 26x. The process repeats again. How does the process repeat? We have done the first part. Let's do the second part. Now it's x into 19x squared. So I've got 19x squared. I divide it by x. So there are 2 of them. 1 will cancel to remain with 1. And then after that, I will have 19x. You can see, so it's positive 19x. And then the 19x will multiply that part. Alright, so it is, in this case, the 19x multiplying x plus 2. It's an identical process, but the numbers are the only ones changing. You open that, 19x times x, it is 19x cubed. 19x times 2, 19 times 2 is 38x. See that? Then that is what you write. So what you will have 19x squared plus 38x. Then you roll off, put a bracket, and subtract. You will always get a 0 in the first one. For example, 19x squared minus 19x squared, you always get a 0. Like here, 8x cubed minus 8x cubed, there was nothing. So even here, it's like that. Then you have got 26x minus 38x. So if you do that, which is 26 minus 38, it gives me minus 12. So what I have there is minus 12x. But what I do is I bring down 24 and the sign is minus 24. You see that? The process repeats again. So what I have is, take this off, it's x into minus 12x. So I've got negative 12x. I divide by x. So this time the x cancels. No x remains, is minus 12, and then when I do that, I write that minus 12. Then the minus 12 multiplies everything there. So it will be, in this case, minus 12 times x plus 2. So you open that bracket and open that. Minus 12 times x is minus 12x. Then minus 12 times 2 is negative 24. So that's what you're having. That's what I'm going to, in this case, write. I'm going to write that. So it will be minus 12x minus 24. Again, roll off, negative, put a bracket. So the next thing you repeat, minus 12x minus minus 12x. It will always give you a 0. If you are confusing with many negatives, use a calculator. Minus 12 minus minus 12. See, it's a 0. Minus 24 minus or minus 24. You can use any of them. Still, it's a 0. So what you get at the end here is a 0. So how do you write your final answer? So this is how you write your final answer. So remember the question was divide this by that. So the answer is equal to, so you're going to say equal to, then you've got x plus 2, then you write that other one on top, this part here, that's what you write on top, which is, just to see there, it is 8x squared plus 19x minus 12. So this is your final answer. This will give you your 7 marks. This part is your working. You don't need to show this part. It's what you do in your rough work. But what is important is this side. Your 7 marks is on this side. Alright, so if you do it well, if you master it well, you are not going to struggle in that case. And the more you repeat it, the more you practice it, the more you are going to master how you do this. So guys, that was that. I'm just doing it slowly in the sense that it was a good 7 marks that you wanted to take advantage of. Now let us look at the next question here. We are looking at question, we have done the first one. So now we are looking at the second one, which is question 2.2. Says from, the moment you say from that, subtract. Subtract means minus. So from, so this is where we are starting. Where it says from, you start there. You start from immediately after the word from, start. Sometimes they will say subtract that from. From is what you start from. So from, so what I have is I have 7x squared. They're saying from 7x squared minus 3xy, and then it's plus, just to make it clear there, minus 7x squared minus 3xy plus 9y squared. From that, it says subtract. There is the subtract. But when you do that, remember to put a bracket. Subtract minus 17 xy minus 3x squared plus 13y squared. Alright, it's 3 marks. Not much, but it's good in this case. So what you do, you have your 7x squared. So that is already a mark. Writing that. Minus 3xy plus 9y squared. When you see this negative and you distribute it inside, what happens is this negative will change that to become a positive. It will change that to become a positive. Remember, negative, negative is positive. Negative, negative, positive. And a positive and a negative, the negative is powerful. It's negative. So you are just interchanging signs in this case. So it will be plus 17xy plus 3x squared minus 13y squared. Now, the next important thing here was collect like terms. That's what you're doing here. At this stage is you are collecting like terms. So anything that is similar, collect it. Anything that is not similar, leave it out. For example, let's focus on the x squared. The part is the coefficient. So I have got x squared there, and I have got 1 with x squared. So in a way, I can choose to forget. Just want to show you. The important part is not the 7, but it is the x squared. So, but of course it goes with 7. Even here is the x squared, but it goes with 3. So when I'm collecting it, I'll be saying I have my x squared there, I have my x squared there. So I collect them together, it will be 7x squared with the sign there is plus 3x squared. Are you seeing that? Then after that one, let me look for xy. You see, I've got xy there and I've got xy there. But I must take them with the signs. So it's minus 3xy and then it's plus 17xy. Then the last one that I didn't do is the 9y squared and the 13y squared. So the key there is the y squared and the y squared. But the numbers, obviously, they move with the variables or the letters. So it's plus 9y squared. You can see it's positive, but it's minus 13y squared. Then after that, I can add now 7 plus 3, which is 10x squared. Then minus 3 plus 17. I think there it is 14. So it's negative 3 plus 17. There is 14. So it's positive 14xy. Then 9 minus 13. It's negative 4y squared. So this then becomes the final answer to that. For the 3 marks, you needed to end it there. You didn't need, because let me see the question. It says from that subtract that. They didn't say simplify further. You can leave your answer just like that. It's 3 marks. It's worth the 3 marks. So don't try to do anything further from here. So that was that part, guys. Then the other question. So this will actually be the last one on question 2. It was nice and sweet, you know, not much stories. It was just something that you can do. So it's 3 marks now, 2.3. Remove the brackets. You see this one, you are removing the brackets. That's the first statement. So removing the brackets, their marks, simplifying their marks. So don't just remove, but remove and simplify. So what am I having? I've got 3 x plus 1 and x minus 2. I think removing the brackets there will give you actually 2 marks because of the 3 and the x plus 1, x minus 2. Simplifying will give us the last mark. So how do we go about this? First thing first, in a way, it's more like that 3. I can say there is a bigger bracket there, like that. So ignore the 3 for now and deal with the inside brackets. So what you have is the x multiplies the x, and the x multiplies that one. So what you are having is x times x, that's the first one, and then you have got, there is a sign which is a plus there for x, so you will have plus x times minus 2. So you are done with the x as the 2 arrows. You do the same thing with the 1, so the 1 multiplies that and the 1 multiplies that. So what you are having is 1, which is plus 1 times x, and then plus 1 times negative 2. I'm doing it slowly so that you can see what's happening. The 3, leave it out for now, you'll do it later. So x times x is x squared, x times 2 is negative 2x, 1 times x is plus 1x, 1 times minus 2 is negative 2. Then you continue to 3. You will notice that the center numbers, you can do something because they contain x and x. So those ones you can add. Is minus 1 plus, is minus 2 plus 1. See that one? So minus 2 plus 1. So you'll have, first one is x squared, nothing you can do. Minus 2x plus 1x is minus 1x. Take a calculator and say minus 2 plus 1, minus 2. Continue equal to, now you distribute the 3. The 3 will multiply, the 3 will multiply, and the 3 will multiply. So if you do that, 3 times x, which is equal to 3x squared, 3 times negative 1x is negative 3x, 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Then you have managed to simplify. Remember, they say expand and simplify. So this is how you do your part. This stage is not necessary. You can actually move from here to there, and to that. It gives you good marks. So guys, that is how you are going to do question 2. Let us look at question 3. Interesting also. If I can take the first one, factorize fully, and for now I'm interested only in this part. So if we look at this, says we need to factorize the following expressions. The first one here, 3.1.1, you are given that and it's 3 marks. So let me write it down. I have got, in this case, it's 7a plus 14 minus 2b minus ab. So that's what I'm given. I'm supposed to factorize, remember? So now what do I do? Whenever you're factorizing these, there are 4 items, 1, 2, 3, 4. When there are 4 items, you are factorizing by grouping. So the method that we use is grouping. What do I mean by grouping? By grouping, I mean you check the first 2 terms and ask, is there anything common? And also in the last 2 terms, ask yourself, is there anything common? That's what you do by grouping. So in the first 2 terms, between 7a and 14, you can see 7 is common because 7 can go into 14. So you take 7 out. When you are grouping, what you are actually doing, you are saying, take that 7a and take that 14. Then we said 7 is common, so you are dividing by 7 by 7. So 7 into 7, a remains. That's the a you write. plus, and then you say 7 into 14 is 2. So that's the 2 you are writing. You see that? You move on to the next one, but the next one always start by writing a positive sign. Before you do anything, just write, say, plus. You look at what is common. You have got minus 2b and minus ab. Forget about the signs for now. Focus on the letters. You can see that b is common. So I'm going to say plus b. Because b is repeating, open a bracket. So what you are also doing there, you are taking minus 2b and you're taking minus ab. You are dividing by b, dividing by b. Cancel the b, you can see minus 2 is remaining. Cancel the b, you can see minus a is remaining. Now I'm going to start writing the letter so that I don't do much, which is negative a. You can see it is, and negative 2. Why am I doing it? Because I've got a letter already, so I want to start with letters. After that, which is 7. Now the aim is to match the brackets. They must always match. If you are grouping, the brackets must always match. So it's a plus 2. Now you can see that there is negative a, negative 2, but I've got positive a and positive 2 in the first bracket. It's positive, positive, negative, negative. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take out a negative. So what you do is take out this particular negative, these two. When you take them out, they affect the positive there to become a negative. So in other ways, this is what you do. You just take out a negative, meaning interchange the sign. The b was positive, the b becomes negative b. Then the a is negative, it becomes positive. 2 is negative, it becomes positive. That's what you're doing. In the interim, look what happens. Then you write that bracket, a plus 2. Then outside the brackets, you have got 7 and minus b. That's what you write, as 7 minus b. This becomes your final answer, and that's how you can simplify this. Again, I haven't been testing some of my answers, but it was possible for me to keep testing. This one you can test. Choose any value of a. For example, you can say a is 2, or let me choose any value now. A is 3 and b is 4. I just use simpler numbers not to confuse myself. So if I do this and say 7 times 3 plus 14, close the bracket, then minus, there was no bracket actually, it was 7. If we take the original like that, yes, it was so I said a is 3, so it's 7 times 3 plus 14 minus 2 times b is 4 minus a is 3 times b is 4. The answer is 15. You see I'm getting a 15. Now I go to my final answer with a bracket to see if I'll get a 15. So it's 3 plus 4 and then 7 minus 4. B is 4. I'm getting a 21. Something is different there. Actually, it's not a plus b. See, I made an error there. Those are some funny things that one does. Don't know why I'm writing it's a plus 2 there. So let me see if I'm gonna get a 15 again, because it was never a plus b. So it's 3 plus 2 and then 7 minus 4 must give me a 15. The answer there is a 15. So you can see that it is correct. So I would have just made a funny error there to start with a 2, but you're ending up with a b. Alright, next one, 3.1.2, you are given that and it's 4 marks. Remember, what is the question saying? Fully factorize the following expressions. So don't lose out what you are doing. You are factorizing. So if I can write this one, I have got 9 x cubed y4 z squared minus 18 x squared y cubed z minus 36 x y squared. Okay, it's 4 marks. So just cross check if I did everything right. Alright, so let's do this. First things first, focus on the numbers. Look at the numbers I'm having. I've got a 9, I've got an 18, I've got a 36. What is common? You can see that 9 can go into 9, it can go into 18, it can go into 36. So first take out the number 9. So I'm going to take out 9. I just want this one. I'm going to take out 9 there. The next thing is look at x, and when you're looking at x, take the smallest power. That's the hint. So what is the smallest power? We are focusing on x now. We have got x, this is 3. We have got x, this is 2. We have got x, there is no power, meaning there is a hidden 1. So we take out only x to the power of 1. Do the same thing with y. You focus. We've got y4, we've got y3, we've got y2. The smallest power, you see that? It's 2. So take the smallest power, which is y2. The next one is z. Now, if I look at z, I've got z squared, I've got z 1, because there is no power, but there is no z here, so meaning z is not common. Let me just cross check to see that I copied this right, but you see there is no z there. So z is not common, so it means I cannot write z because it must be appearing in each and every one of them. So this is what is common, then you put a bracket. So what you are doing, as I've been doing in the previous part, is you are saying 9x cubed y4 z squared. We are dividing by the common factor, which is 9x1 y2. So the 9 cancels the 9. Now x is 1, there are 3, 2 will remain. See that there are 2. Y squared, but y4, there are 2, 2 will remain. So it's x squared, y squared, z squared. That is what is going to remain. It's x squared, see that, y squared, and z squared. Then there is minus. Do the same thing. You are looking at 18 x squared, y cubed, z over 9x1 y squared. Do the same thing. 9 into 18, you get the 2. x1 will cancel the x2 to remain with 1. y2 and y3 remain with 1. So it's 2x1 y1 z1 in a way. So it's 2x y z. Alright, the last one is 36 xy squared over 9xy squared. Remember, we are using the same common factor. 9 into 36 is 4, and then x cancels the x to give us a 1, y cancels the y squared to give us a 1. So the answer there gives a 4. So it's a negative 4. So this is what we have. Now the question, they said factorize what? They said factorize fully. It's 4 marks. So usually they wouldn't have given you 4 marks just to end it like that. So this will continue to say 9x1 y squared. Now this can go on further in here to say, using the product sum. I'm not going to dwell much on the product sum method, but you look at this, I can write this as x squared y squared z squared. Now minus 2xy is same as minus 4xyz plus 2xyz. If I say minus 4 plus 2 is minus 2, right? And then it's minus 4. This is the product sum method that I'm using. 9x1y squared. Now you do the grouping that I did previously to say group the first two, group the last two. So if you are going to do the grouping, then you see I applied the product method, but you can just text me or send me on your YouTube to say, please can you emphasize that question if ever you don't understand what just happened here. Just take note of it. So what's common there in the x squared y squared z minus 4xyz? Take the smallest power. 1 and 4 nothing common, but xyz is common, so it's x y z. So like what I was doing, xyz into x squared y squared z squared, the x cancel the x to remain like here, the x cancels that x, you remain with 1, y cancel the y, remain with 1, z cancels 1, remain with z. So here you'll be left with x y z minus, in the next one, in this other one, the 4 will remain, but the x cancels the x, the y cancels the y, the z cancels the z, so it's minus 4. I must get a similar bracket, then it's plus, see 2 and minus 4, 2 is common, there is no letters there, so 2 into 2xyz, it's xyz, minus 2 into 4, it's minus 2. Now look at the brackets, xyz minus 4, I got xyz minus 4, and here it's xyz minus 2, in which I was expecting to become xyz minus 4. Let me just check again that and that. Let me check again, minus 2. If I did it well here, the product sum that I was telling you about, when I multiply this times this, I must get a 4, and then when I multiply the product sum says 2 times this, it must give me a product of 4, and the factors of 4, it's 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. So I think at that stage actually this was not going to work. This was actually the end. Just want to be sure here to say 9 there was 1, 9 there was minus 2, 9 there was minus 4. I think that is the end. This couldn't go further. Let me just check. Let me not just cancel it. Let me do this and say here I don't see anything going further here to say scratch it like that and leave it like this. Okay, so because it is 9 and the x1, that is if I didn't change anything in here, so it was the x, it was the y squared. So yes, that is fine. So with what I'm having here, this then becomes the final answer. So in my mind, I thought this was supposed to continue because the 4 marks that they were giving, they wouldn't be giving the 4 marks just for that. So it seems that is that. All right, so we have done that question. So let us look at maybe someone also can come and say, can you prove this? That are you correct? Yes, I can prove. Choose any value. For example, we can say let our x be equal to 2. I usually like numbers that follow each other. Y be equal to 3. Z be equal to 4. So what we do, we take it into the original. So x is 2, y is 3, z is 4. So let's try that and see if ever we're making it. So it's 9 times x is 2 cubed times 3 to the power 4, that's y, times z is 4 squared, alright, minus 18 times 2 squared x times y cubed, which is 3 cubed, times z, which is 4, minus 36 times x is 2 times y is 3 squared. Take note of the answer is 84,888. Let me write it down. It's 84, then it was 888. I must get a similar answer here. Let's test it out. It's 9 times x is 2 times y is 3 squared. Put a bracket. X is 2 squared times 3 squared times 4 squared. You just need to be careful. Minus 2 times 3 times 4 minus 4, if I'm doing it well, equal to 84,888. You see that? So it didn't change. Even if I tried my answer down, this last part of the answer where it was 9 and then I'd got times 2 times 3, the final answer, then I opened the bracket, I had 2 times 3 times 4, and then there was the first bracket again, which is 2 times 3 times 4, then I closed it, right, and then I had plus 2, then I did that, which is 2 times 3, not plus, 2 times 3 times 4, minus 2. You close and you close. This is giving me something different now. Let me see, equal to. So that's why I left the first one. So 9 times 2 times that. Then I opened the bracket. I was supposed to open a bracket because there is, yes, the first bracket 2 times 3 times 4, and then there is the first bracket 2 times 3 times 4 minus the minus 4. I left this minus 4. Alright, then plus 2, and then 2 times 3 times 4 minus 2, that must give me the same answer. Yes, 84,888. So this was still fine here, just that it couldn't go further. I couldn't match this bracket and that, hence the answer had to end at that stage. Alright guys, so it was correct, but it needed to end at that stage. I wanted to take it further, but unfortunately the examiner didn't want to take this further. So let's look at the other one. There we have, says simplify. Look at this, an interesting one also. It's 5 marks. Says simplify the following, a good 5 marks, and you don't want to miss this one on fractions. So what I have is 3 over 4x squared plus 1 over x minus 5 over 8x. So this is what I'm having. I need to simplify it. So the first things first is the common denominator here, which is equal to, let's start with the numbers between 4 and 8. Which number can go into 4, and which number can 4 and 8 go into? In other words, you're looking for the lowest common denominator between 4 and 8, or the lowest common multiple of 4 and 8. Which number can you get that 4 and 8 can go into? Is 8. So we start with the number which is 8 in this case. So I've got my 8. Then when you've got x squared, x and x, take the smallest power, which is simple x, because it's to the power 1. So it's, sorry, take the highest power, which is x squared. In this case, you need the highest power, because the highest power can go into the highest power and all other smaller powers can go into that. So you take the highest power. Then after that, you do that. So what you are saying I've got 8x squared. First one, you divide by 4x squared. See, 4 into 8 is 2. X squared cancels the x squared. So that's where you get your first 2. So you'll say 2 multiplied by the top, which is 3, plus, repeat the same thing. I have 8x squared. This time I'm dividing by that one, by x. So x cancel into the x squared, there are 2, the 1 will remain. So 8x is the answer there. So plus 8x. Multiply by the numerator there, which is 1, minus. Repeat the same thing. This time what you have is 8x squared over that one, which is 8x. The 8 cancel the 8, the x cancel the squared, only 1 is remaining, so it's minus x, bracket times the numerator, which is 5. So which is equal to 2 times 3, it's 6. 8x times 1 is plus 8x. You're getting that? Minus x times 5 is minus 5x, all over 8x squared. Already they are like terms. These are like terms. 8x minus 5x. Those are like terms. You can actually continue like this to say here, this is equal to 6. 8 minus 5 is plus 3x over 8x squared, which is equal to, you can see here, let me just go down. So 3, 6 and 3, you can see that 3 is common. Now, why? Because 3 and 6, 3 can go into 6. So 3 into 6 is 2 plus 3 into 3x. X will remain. So what I'm doing, I'll say it 6, I say 3x. I divide by 3, I divide by 3. 3 into 6 is the 2. 3 into 3 is the x. So these are the numbers that I'm having there. Then it's over 8x squared, which is equal to, that's in a way the end. Can't do anything after that. So the solution could have been here, or it could have been here. Let me just check the question. The question was simplify the following. So you can test your answer, choose any value of x. For example, you can say let x be equal to, let's say 15, just for argument's sake. So I come here and say, okay, with x equal to 15 is 3 over 4 times 15 squared. That's why I prefer smaller numbers, not to complicate things, plus 1 over 15. This will look complicated because of this 15. Not really complicated, but like a bigger number. Minus 5 over 8 times 15. See, it's 17 over 600. So I'm getting 17 over 600. Let me check my final answer here. Remember, x is 15. So my final answer is 3. It's fraction first. 3 into 2 plus 15 all over 8 times 15 squared. It's 17 over 600. And if you remember, this is what I got also, 17 over 600. So in a way, this is the 5 marks. You definitely get the 5 marks. So we're still continuing. Just checking. Yes, there we are. question number 4. Not question 4, we are still on question number 3. Okay, we're still on question number 3, and question number 3 here, it is still on, this is now 18 marks. It is an important question here. Let's have that. Look at this question. It says here, determine the following from algebraic terms. So we're talking about algebraic terms, and they're given that and that. So in this one, 3.3.1, the prime factors of each term. So for the prime factors, you don't need to worry. Your calculator can actually find you the prime factors. So what do we have? The first one that we have is 30 x to the power 7 y squared z 5. Now the prime factors, you take a calculator. I hope my calculator can do that. Unfortunately, mine can't do that. But there is this part here on your calculator. See that part? When you press it, so what you'll say 30 equal to, then you say shift that part fact. But mine won't do. Yours will give you the prime factors. So mine, I'm going to do it the long way. So to do 30, I'll do like that. To say 30 divided by 2, it's 15, divided by 3, it's 5, divided by 5 is 1. So prime factors there is 2 to the power of 1 times 3 to the power of 1 times 5 to the power of 1. Then you just write times x to the power 7 y squared z to the power 5. That is the first one. And the second one, we're given 105. So 105 x cubed y 4 and z is equal to, I do the same thing that I did to say here. I've got 105. I think the first one is 3 can go into 105. So if I say 105 divided by 3, am I right? Yes, 105 divided by 2 won't do, but by 3 is 35. So I divide by 3, I got 35. I divide by 5, I got 7. I divide by 7, I got 1. Let me just cross check that. If I say 3 times 5 times 7, it is 105. That's it. So this one will give me 3 to the power of 1 times 5 to the power of 1 times 7 to the power of 1 times x to the power of 3, y to the power of 4, and z. So that's the first part. You get 2 marks for that. So it's 3 times 2. So you get 2 marks. Then 3.3.2 says the lowest common multiple, LCM. How do you find the LCM on this one? It's not difficult again. The moment you're dealing with LCM, what you need to do is to look at each and every number. First things first. The first number is a 2. So you write that 2 times, you look for 3, which is also represented there, is 3, but you're writing the highest powers. So the 3 is power 1. You look for, from 3 is 5, which is also 5 for 1 there, times 5. And then after that, the next number is 7 times 7, which is power 1. Then after that, you look for the variables, the x, y, and the z. You look for the highest exponent. So for x, you check x there, check x. 7 is the highest, so it's x to the power of 7. You go to y. I've got y squared and y4. That is highest, which is y to the power 4. Z squared and z5. That is the one, is z to the power 5. Then if you simplify that, because you need to simplify the numbers, which is 2 times 3 times 5 times 7, then you get 210. So I've got 210 x to the power of 7, y to the power of 4, z to the power of 5. This is your LCM. Alright. So remember, it's the highest powers after expressing the numbers in prime factors as well as the highest powers in the variables. Now the next one, 3.3.3 is the highest common factor. So here we are looking at HCF. Now for the highest common factor, you are looking at the number that is common in both of them, and you are taking the smallest powers. It's the opposite. The number must appear on both of them and it must be the smaller power. For example, look at that. 3 is there, so it's 3 times, look at the other one, 5 is there, it's 5, and the smaller power is 1 times. And then with x here, you see the x is there, but the smaller power is 3, so it's times x cubed. You do the same thing with y. Y is there, but the smaller power is squared, it's times y squared. Z is also there, but the smaller power is just z to the power 1 there, times z. So if you simplify 3 times 5, it's 15x cubed, y squared, and z. So this becomes the highest common factor. You take the number that is appearing in both as well as the smallest powers. So that will earn you your 18 marks, guys. And it was a good 18 marks. Alright. So we are continuing. So yes, let us move on then to our question 4. Now 4.1 says you need to solve the following linear equation. Okay, so they are looking at this linear equation and we are given 5 marks for that. Now if I can just cut this to say, okay, let me cut just 2 of them and then we focus on those for now. So if I do this, we've got 2 questions that we will look at now. First one says solve the following linear equation. It's linear, you are solving for y there. So if you just do it, it's 12 y minus 3 minus 3 y minus 9 is equal to negative 5 y plus 6. So you see what I'm having there. So the main thing here that they were focusing on is how do you know how to expand, collect like terms, and simplify. So what they're saying is the 12 you distribute, it will multiply the y, the 12 it will multiply the negative 3. So when you do that, what are you having? 12 times y is 12y, 12 times minus 3 with a calculator, use a calculator please, is negative 36. Especially the more you get tired with the exam, use the calculator to avoid errors. Minus 3 times y is the next one, minus 3 times minus 9. So minus 3 times y is negative 3y, minus 3 times minus 9, negative and negative is positive 27, is equal to, and then minus 5 times y and minus 5 times 6, and you're having minus 5y minus 5 times 6 is minus 30. So that's the first skill they wanted to test there. The next skill is collect like terms. The way you collect like terms, you need to do it, you don't need to do it step by step. You can do it once. For example, you have 12y and you have minus 3y. So I'll write 12y here and minus 3y, but there is y on the other side. This one is negative, it must come and join to become positive, so it will be plus 5y. So you see, I've covered everything to do with y. Then I say equal to, then I'm focusing now on the numbers, only on the numbers. Already I've got minus 30 here, so it's after the equal sign, but I've got minus 36. It must jump the equal sign to join the other number. From minus 36 it becomes positive 36. And also I have the other one here, with the sign, I prefer to also cover the sign, is plus 27. It must jump to join the number plus, becomes minus 27. Are you seeing that? So having done that, what I have is now to focus on the calculator. I say 12 minus 3 plus 5, which will give me 12 minus 3 plus 5. If I did that well, it's 14y. So I've got 14y is equal to, again with the calculator, I have minus 30 plus 36 minus 27. I'm getting minus 21. So here it will give me negative 21. So now if I continue now to solve for y, I'm saying 14y divided by 14 is equal to, then I've got minus 21, but I'm dividing by 14. So that you cancel, then y is equal to, so if I've got negative 21 over 14, I think it's negative 3 over 2. So this is my value for y after solving. So that's what I get, is negative 3 over 2. So now if this is the answer I have here, to say my y is equal to negative 3 over 2, definitely I need to test my answer. So whether it's y, I put negative 3 over 2. Let me start on the left hand side. So I've got 12 bracket y, which is negative 3 over 2, which is my y, minus 3. Close the bracket. Then minus 3, you open another one, negative 3 over 2, which is y, minus 9. Then you close the bracket. Let's see what I have on the left hand side is minus 45 over 2. So I got here minus 45 over 2. Just input the value on the right hand side. So it's minus 5. Then it's negative 3 over 2 plus 6. You always need to test your answer in equation. It's minus 45 over 2. So you can see the left hand side. So it's minus 45 over 2. So the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. So this answer is definitely correct. So that's how you do that. And that's how you solve that. Okay, so let us look at, let me not erase everything here. Let us look at, I've got another question I have to deal with. It's question 4.2. 4.2, it says here, 4.2, manipulate the given formula and make y the subject of the formula, y. So I've got ax, I prefer this one now, ax plus y squared is equal to c. I'm making y the subject of the formula. It's 2 marks, guys. Nothing complicated. First things first, you see I need to remain with y, but this is disturbing the part. Take it to the other side because there is a plus. So what I have there is y squared is equal to c. It's positive, remember, so it's minus ax after jumping the equal sign. Then after that one, how do you remove y? I mean the square, you square root is equal to, but when you square root you say plus or minus square root of c minus ax. Don't forget the plus or minus. So that is the answer. When you're writing, you're going to say y is equal to plus or minus square root of c minus ax. Not complicated, but it is important in that fashion. That's how you would have solved that question there. Let us look at another question, 4.2. Then it says 4.3 says use the answer in question 4.2 to substitute the following values to calculate y. So x is equal to 33 and a is equal to minus 2. So they are saying here x is equal to 33, a is equal to minus 2. Am I right? X is equal to 33, a is equal to minus 2, and determine the value of y is 2 marks. So when I do that, now I'm substituting. So when I do that substitution, remember this is not part. So what I'll have here, I'll have y is equal to plus or minus. I'm now substituting c, but they didn't give me the value of c now. You see, they did not give me any value of c. They gave me the x, the a, but this question had c. Says manipulate the following formula, and they didn't give me any c. I think that was an error there. So it would be c in this case minus a is negative 2 and x is 33. We're seeing that y is equal to, I don't think this was left intentionally here. I think it was an error. So it will be plus or minus square root of, but that is the answer they will accept because it's an error. It's c minus 2 is plus 2 times 33 is 66. They have to take it as is. Alright, 4.4 says, at what speed did you travel if you took 8 hours to cover 9,000 kilometers? So let me look at this. They are saying, at what speed did you travel if it took you 8 hours to travel to cover 9,000 kilometers? So what I have here, time, my time taken is 8 hours, and then my distance there is equal to, they say if it took me 9,000 kilometers. 9,000 kilometers. Now, what is the question requiring? It says at what speed. It wants me to find, in this case, I'm looking for speed. Now, if I check the formulas quickly to see if ever there is anything on speed here, I don't have anything on speed, but anyway, it's a formula that you need. Okay, we've done this question I think before, so we erase that. It's something that you can recall. Remember, speed, there is a formula for speed. It says speed is equal to distance over time in kilometers over time. In this case it will be in hours, which is equal to, distance is 9,000 over 8, and it can give us now the speed that will be traveling. So it's 9,000 over 8, so it's 1,125. It's 1,125. Distance is, remember, kilometers per hour. So that is the speed that you will be traveling. Say, at what speed will you travel if it took, so you'll be traveling at that particular speed. Alright, now let us move on to look at the other question here, which is 4.5. It's a word problem. I guess it's a good question here. This question is saying here, the difference is a word problem now. 4.5. We are moving on, guys. 4.5 says the difference between 15 times a number and 3,000 is 0. What is the number? The difference means minus. So the difference between 15 times a number, we call that number x, and 3,000 is equal to 0. So first things first, let the number be x. So they're saying the difference between 15 times the number, which is 15 times x, and 3000. So the difference, that minus 3000, is equal to 0. What is the number? So the equation there is 15x minus 3000 is equal to 0. Now negative 3000, take it to the other side of the equal sign. 15x, not 5. Now from negative it becomes positive 3000. So you have to solve for x, remember? So it's 15x over 15 is equal to 3000 over 15. To find that number now, so you're dividing 3000 over 15. It gives us 200. So it says the difference between 15 times a number and 3000 is 0. What is the number? Therefore say the number is 200. Okay, so you can test it. 15 times 200 minus 3000, it gives us a 0, which is what they were saying. Alright, so let's move on to question number 5. So that was 16 marks there. Let us move on to question number 5. We're almost wrapping it up now. It's almost there. Just hang on there. I know it's heavy, it might be tiring, but just hang on there. It's almost the end. It says given. So what am I given here? If I can take the whole of this question in a way, because it communicates as one thing. Let's look at this question. They are saying you are given that 5.1.1. So you are given that equation. Write the equation in standard form. So usually when you are writing it in standard form, you are writing it in this version. Let me write it down first. We are given x over minus 2 plus y over 3 is equal to 1. So the first thing first, you have to get rid of the numbers at the bottom, which is the fractions. So you've got minus 2 and 3. You are looking for the number that can go into 2 and that can go into 3, and that number is 6. So you multiply everything by 6. So you say 6 times x. Actually, I'll use negative 6. Why? Because I've got a negative 2 there. So use the negative one. Negative 6 times x over negative 2 plus negative 6 times y over 3 is equal to negative 6 times 1. Are you seeing what I'm doing? I'm looking for a number, and that number was negative 6y. Negative 2 into negative 6 is 3. So you've got 3x. 3 into negative 6 is negative 2y is equal to negative 6 times 1 is negative 6. So sometimes if they write in standard form, you can leave it like this or take 6 back, so that you have got 3x minus 2y plus 6 is equal to 0. So these constitute the standard form. Alright, and then the next one, it says 5. Let's just remove this part. 5.1.2, determine the gradient of this equation. So they want us to find the gradient, but now let me erase this because I need to work from that. They want me to find the gradient. Now I can't find the gradient from that. So remember, I'm given 3x minus 2y plus 6 is equal to 0. Now the gradient must be in the form of y is equal to mx plus c for me to get the gradient. So what I'll do, I can take y to the other side, which is 3x plus 6 is equal to 2y. You see that? Then 3x, you divide by 2, that particular 2 plus 6 over 2 is equal to 2y over 2. See what I'm doing? So that I can have only y remaining. So I have 3 over 2x plus 2 into 6 is 3 plus 3 is equal to y. Now if I interchange this, it is giving me now in that format, it will be y is equal to 3 over 2x plus 3. See how it is matching now. So the question is determine the gradient. So the gradient here is, this is the gradient. M is the gradient. So here M is equal to 3 over 2. That's the answer. That's 5.1.2. And then 5.1.3 seems interesting. Determine the y-intercept. It's 1 mark. And the y-intercept is C. And you can see that y-intercept equal to 3. So once you get the first one, it will also give you the other one. So that is how you are supposed to solve that. Let us move on, guys, to 5.2. It's another interesting question. Again, it's on graphs, but let us study it as we look at this. So as I said, it is 5.2. All right, there we go. It says you are given this xy is equal to minus 3, and it says 5.2.1. Write the equation in standard form. Now this is a hyperbola, so if you are given xy is equal to minus 3, you must make y the subject, so you divide by x. Xy over x is equal to minus 3 over x. So the first part, when they say write this equation in standard form, question number 5.2.1, that's the answer you get now. After dividing, you have got y is equal to minus 3 over x. So that's the first one. That's the first question there. Then you have got 5.2.2. Then they say, in which quadrants is the graph drawn? Just to remind you, you'll be having this graph like this. So you have the graph, and in this graph you'll be having your y, you'll be having your x. Now if it is positive, now the positive axis, you draw it here and here. This is for positive. If it is negative, it is here and here. This is for negative. Now how do the quadrants work? The quadrants work like this. This is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, this is quadrant 3, and this is quadrant 4. So for negative, you can see that it is that side and that side is quadrant 2 and 4. So the answer there is quadrant 2 and quadrant 4. Then 5.2.3, what is the name of the graph? So the 5.2.3, this is a hyperbola. It was a good given points, that just to score quick on those points without doing much. All right, so we are done there, we are done that, we've been looking at that. Let us look at the next one, which is 5.3. Now question 5.3, It says use the table method to draw the graph of that for the domain of that on a graph paper. All values at the point of intersection with the system of axes must be drawn. So this is 5 marks. So look at this, says use the table method to draw the graph of that. So now I can have the table method already here. Just because of my space, let me have the table method here, because that is where it can make things easier for me. Alright, so what I have, let me divide as much as I can just to see how many values can I fit here. It is a straight line graph that I'm going to have. I don't think it's more than that. So let me have my y, my x, and my y. They says it's for the domain. See this, what they did is minus 4 is less than x, so don't include minus 4. Start from minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, but says x is less than or equal to, so you include 2. You are not going to include 4 because it's not equal to. And then after that one, look at this equation. They have given you 2y is equal to minus 4x plus 8. So they are confusing you there, just to give you confusion. Let's start with the first one. When x is minus 3, so you've got 2y is equal to minus 4 minus 3 plus 8. And then you divide by 2 that answer. So what is y? Use a calculator there quickly. It will be minus 4 times minus 3 plus 8, and I'm dividing by 2. The first one is 10. Remember that. So go back. I change now from 10. I put now minus 2, which is 8. You go back again, 8, put a negative 1, 6. So you see that I'm dropping by 2. I'm just trying to save time. 6, put a 0, which is 4, put a 1. After 4, it must give me a 2, put a 2. It's 0. So you see it was starting, I can start actually say 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's what we started at. So this is what I'm having. So now if I am to come here and draw the graph in a way, and let's say this is my graph paper, try to make it large like this. You will have a proper graph paper, but this is what I'm going to use. If I'm to draw this and have my line like that and have my line like that, and then these are my y-axis, these are my x-axis, and then I need now to plot. Remember they said from x is minus 3 to 2, so this is my 0, this one is my 1. I can jump 2 spaces and say 1, then jump 2 spaces and say 2, again jump 2 spaces, I've got minus 1, jump 2 spaces, minus 2, jump 2 spaces, minus 3. Seeing that? And then for y, it started from 10, which is, I can go by 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Let me just check. There was no negative for y. So that is good. So I'll start with the first one. Is minus 3 is 10. So I've got minus 3 and 10. There is an, let me do now a different marker for that. So I've got a point there. And then minus 2 is 8. I have a point there. And then I've got minus 1 is 6, and then I've got 0 is 4, like that. I've got 1 is 2, so 1 is that 2, and I've got 2 is 0. Let me just repeat again. I said when x is 1, y is 2. Now when x is 2, y is 0. When x is yes, that is an error there. When x is 1, when x is 1, y is 2. The point is there. And then when x is 2, y is 0. Yes, because it is a straight line. So now when you're drawing this graph, you are expecting this graph to join these points just like that. See the graph? It starts from there to there. That's when you call this graph y. It was 2y is equal to minus 4x plus 8. Minus 4x plus 8. That is the name of the graph. So that's how you're supposed to plot the graph. Says use the table method to draw the graph of that for the domain of that on a graph paper. All values, let me write that, all values at the point of intersection with the system of axes must be shown. So let's go and look at that graph. See, that intersection is shown, but some they want to show like this: 2, when x is 2, y is 0. Come there again, when x is 0, y is 4. Just to emphasize, to say I know what those values are. These are the intersection with the axis, that point intersecting with the y, and that point with the x. So there is that point and there is that point. All right, so that was that part, guys. It wasn't a difficult thing. 5 marks in your pocket until. All right, so let us move on to the next question, which is question number 6. Says name 6.1, name 2 conditions for 2 triangles to be congruent. You know, congruency. Now for triangles to be congruency, number 1 is all 3 sides must be equal. Remember, this is a triangle. For congruency, you are looking at this triangle. You are looking at that side must be equal to that side. This side must be equal to this side, and this side must be equal to that side. So number 1, all sides must be equal. Number 2, again, you're looking at that triangle to be congruent. Looking at that triangle, this angle must be equal to that. This angle must be equal to that, and that angle must be equal to that angle. So number 2, all 3 angles must be equal. So that's the 2 conditions for congruency. It's all the sides and all the angles. All right, 6.2 says find the length of AC if AB is that. So now let me take this again and put it on a page. It's 3 marks. Let me actually take this side. It's 3 marks, you can see. So I'm not going to take everything there. Look at this. This question is saying here, if, okay, find the length is a bit big. I can make it even small, but fine, it's fine. It says here, find the length of AC if AB is 60. You can see on the diagram there, and BC is 20. So they want the length of AC. Now this is the theorem of Pythagoras here that is used if you know Pythagoras. And if I go to the formulas, I have that Pythagoras theorem, and I think this is the theorem of Pythagoras. See, the theorem of Pythagoras, that's the one that you are using in here, and it's even on this triangle to say c squared. You can look at that, c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. So that's what we're using there. So if I come here and say, how do you name the triangles? They call this C, they call this A, so this I'll call it B. So it means B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared. So B squared, so B, actually B, I can do this already, which is square root of, because what you do, you square root here and you square root there. So it's A squared plus C squared. B is equal to, now what is my A? It's square root of 20 squared plus 60. C is 60 squared. So my B in this case, if you solve it, it's square root of 20 squared plus 60 squared. It's 20 root 10. Remember, they said leave your answer to 3 decimal places, which is 63,2455. Your calculator can do that. Rounding of 6 is fixed to 3 decimal place, which is 63,246. So it's 63,246. We are dealing with centimeters, so the answer will be in centimeters. That's the value. Find the length of AC. So AC is equal to 63,246. That's the part. All right. That was 6.2. And then 6.3. It says name the properties of an isosceles triangle. That's what they're saying there. We need to name the properties of an isosceles triangle. Now, in an isosceles triangle, number one, how do I know all the properties of an isosceles triangle? This is the thing. An isosceles triangle is like this. If I'm trying just to be as best. So this, let's say this is an isosceles triangle. What happens is, in an isosceles triangle, this side is equal to this side, and that angle is equal to that angle. So in isosceles triangle, number one, two sides are equal in length. That's number one. Number two, opposite, because these are the opposite angles. These are the opposite angles. Opposite angles are equal. Okay, angles must be adjacent. And that word adjacent, mark the spelling, to the sides. You didn't need to say this per se, but to say opposite angles are equal was sufficient enough. So that is the property of an isosceles triangle. Alright, so now let us move on. We are looking at question 7 now. Question number 7 says, it's 4 marks. A straight board ramp is being designed to cover a horizontal distance of 6 meters with an angle of elevation of 3 degrees. Find the length of the ramp. So again, if I can just take this and try to bring that like this. So we have the question here, says a straight board ramp is being designed to cover a horizontal distance of 6 meters You can see that is the 6 meters with an angle of elevation of 3 degrees. There is that part. Find the length of the boat ramp. So they want us to find this distance, the length. So from here to there, that's what they want us to find. Find that length. Let's call it x. But the good thing is, look at this diagram. I can come up with a triangle like this, like that, like that. So this is the triangle I'm having. 90 degrees, 6 meters, 3 degrees, and in this I can mark my triangle to say this is my adjacent side, this is my hypotenuse side, this is my opposite side. And then I can use saw, car, toya. See that? And they are looking for the hypotenuse, which is my x. So the hypotenuse, I look for the ones that deal with hypotenuse. You can see it's saw and car. And I look for what I'm given. I'm given the adjacent. So the one that deals with adjacent, there I'm singling it out, is that one. So now when I work on it, it's cos theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. If you forget it, you still have the formulas. Let's go to the formulas. I think that information is there. There you get your cos. Look at it. Cos theta, that particular theta, and the 90 degrees, it's b over c. So it's the same thing here that I'm having to say I've got 90 degrees and 3. So that is my adjacent of hypotenuse. So cos, my theta there is 3 degrees, is equal to adjacent, which is 6 over the hypotenuse. We call it x at this stage. So the aim is to solve for x. So what you do is multiply everything by x. So I'm going to say x cos 3 is equal to 6 over x multiplied by x, so that you can cancel that. Do you see what I'm doing there? So when you do that, you're going to say x cos 3 is equal to 6. You know, sometimes be careful now not to find yourself struggling to solve for x there. First of all, cross multiply like I did. Then after that, you don't want cos 3, divide by cos 3, divide by cos 3. So that, you see, you are left with x alone. And then the calculator then comes handy there to say 6 over cos 3. And then the answer is 6,008 to 3 decimal places. 6,008. Now you need to find out what was the question all about again. The question was, a straight boat ramp is being used to cover a horizontal distance of 6 meters with an angle of elevation of 3 degrees. Find the length of the boat ramp. Now the length of the boat ramp is what we found. The length, so you say length of boat ramp is equal to 6,008. You were working with meters. That is how this whole question you could have done there. So that is what you have to say, x is equal to 6,008. All right. So that is that question. Let's move on to question 7.2. Look at this one. It says simplify. I think I can do it because it's down here. It says 7.2, simplify without a calculator by using special angles. So I'm not supposed to use a calculator, but as I'm simplifying there, what do I have? It's 7.2. So look at this. It says without a calculator but using special angles. So I've got cos 30 degrees over sine 60 degrees. cos 30 over sine 60. Instead of working it here, let me work it from the formulas, because the special angles are also in the formulas. Look at these special angles. It was cos, let me just write it, it was cos over sine. Let me go and check it again. The question was cos 30 over sine 60. Cos 30 over sine 60. Alright, so these are the special angles. If they say cos 30, this one, ignore it for now. Ignore that. It doesn't exist. So cos 30, I'm going to say cos 30 is equal to, remember, cos is B over C. So from here I need to mark according to my soccer toya. I definitely need my soccer toya. So which says cos theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So I look at here to say, because this is 30 and 90, this is my adjacent side, and 2 is my hypotenuse side. So cos 30 is root 3 over 2. Verify with your calculator to say cos 30. There we go. What about sine 60? Now with sine 60, the opposite now is true. Sine 60, forget about that. This is now your focus. Now sine 60, remember this side is adjacent, so adjacent looking at the opposite side, and this side is the hype. So sine is so, it means sine theta is equal to opposite, which is up, over hypotenuse. So now sine 60 is equal to opposite, which is root 3 over 2. So you can also check with the calculator what is sine 60. See, it's root 3 over 2. So here you are going to solve it and say, going forward, cos 30 is equal to root 3 over 2 all over sine 60, which is root 3 over 2. So that cancels that. The answer becomes 1. Test it again with the calculator to say cos 30 over sine 60. You can see that it simply gave us a 1. So that was the part. As I was saying, guys, this was almost towards the end. So this was 7.2, and you can see it is 7 marks. So this is the end of question 7. Let us look at question number 8. So we are now in the final stages of this paper. This is the last question, and I'm just gonna wrap it up in a few minutes time. Now question 8 is interesting, guys. Question 8 says you're given AB is equal to that, and BC is equal to that, and EF is equal to that. Look at this diagram. Calculate the area of the parallelogram. So you are given AB and BC and EF. Now we need to, it's 2 marks. First things first, this is 2 marks, but you need to go to the formulas and find out what is the area of a parallelogram. And the formula there it is, parallelogram, area is base times perpendicular height. So when you come to this formula, you write it, area is equal to base times perpendicular height. So you ask yourself, what is the base? You can see BC is my base and EF is my perpendicular height. You can see the 90 degrees there. So area is 2,5, which is that number, and that number times 1,8. And When you simplify that, it's 2.5 times 1.8. It gives us 4.5. So it is 4.5. They say to 3 decimal places. You see, sometimes it's important to write that. Centimeter squared, because it's area. Then you get 2 marks for that. Alright, 8.2 says the illustration shows a right triangular prism with the following measurements. AB is 4, so there is that part. BC is 20,616. AE is 12 and ED is 21, and that angle B is 90 degrees. Alright, so first one is calculate the perimeter of triangle ABC. Now when they talk of perimeter, this is 3 by 2, so it's 2 marks each. When they're talking of perimeter, perimeter is distance right around the shape, so they are meaning that distance, and that distance. You need to add it together. So for perimeter is equal to AB plus BC plus AC, which is equal to, now the challenge, why it makes this question a bit challenging is you're not given AC, but look at AC there, they gave it as 21 but on the other end. So here then you have the thing AB is 4 plus BC is 20,616 plus AC, which is equal to ED, which is 21. Let us solve that, which is 4 plus 20,616 plus 21. It gives me 45,616. So, 616. Remember, it's meters because we're dealing with meters. That's the perimeter of ABC. And you can check in the formulas. I think we might have perimeter of a triangle C, A plus B plus C. So that is that. And then calculate the area of rectangle ACDE. So let's remove that and look at what is given. They want me to find the area of rectangle ACDE. They want me to find the area of this rectangle. Now come here to say what is the area of a rectangle, area of a square, and then there is the area of a rectangle, and the formula there is length times breadth. So if I come here and say area 8.2.2, area is equal to length times breadth, and what is the length? It's up to you, which is 21. Can choose any number times 12. You can interchange them, it's the same, so it's 21 times 12. What is important is what you're multiplying, so 21 times 12, which is called 252 meters squared. Area is always in meters squared. The next one is calculate the volume of the prism. Now, what type of a prism is this one? They say it's a right triangular prism. So we need to go and find out a right triangular prism and find out what is the formula for the volume. So if you come here to look for the right triangular prism, there it is. This is the right triangular prism, and the volume is half base times height times length. See that? Half base times height times length. So if I come here and write the formula, so V is half base times height times length and equal to, so now this is the volume of the whole prism, and half base, this is my base, that's my B, and this represent my height. And now what you need to be careful actually is half base times height times the length. So you need to be careful now to say which one is the length. And you can see here the 21, yes, the 21 here is my length. So I've got the base times height, and actually this, you need to be careful, that's not the length. The length is this one. It will represent the length because this is the slant height. This is the slant, the slant length. So it's half base times height times the length, which is that. So it is 1/2 times the base, which is 20,616 times, and then this case is the length, which is 12, and it's half base times height. I think I left out the 4 times the length, which is 12. Then when you do that, which is half times base, which is 20,616 times 4 times 12, which is equal to 494,784. 494,784. Remember, it's meters, cubic meters. It's the volume. All right, so that was 6 marks. And then last but not least, in celebration, the last question is about Tabo, and it says Tabo wants to buy a cell phone. At the beginning of the month, the cell phone cost that amount. That is at the beginning of the month. When Tabo finally got his salary at the end of the month, the cell phone was on sale for $10,999. What percentage money did Tabo save? So now you want to find out what money did Tabo save, and from money that Tabo saved, let's look at the percentage. Let's first look at the amount saved in rands. Now the actual amount saved is equal to, remember the cell phone was initially 12,588. Now it was on discount and he bought it for 10,999. How much did he save in rands? Let's look at the amount of money that he just saved. This will be a good bargain, a good discount. 12,588 minus 10,999. He saved 1,589. So it's 1,589. This is the amount of money saved. So to find the percentage he saved, so percentage saved is equal to the amount saved over the original price, and then we multiply by 100%. Are you seeing that? So it is equal to amount saved, which is 1,589, over original price 12,588 times 100. So what does it give us as a percentage for the money saved? Is 1,589 over 12,588 times 100. Let's look at the amount of money. So this was, it's more like a discount. So the discount here is 12,623%, which is 12,623 to 3 decimal places. Always put it to 3 decimal places. So this is the percentage of money that is saved. He saved 12,623. And with that, guys, I don't have to emphasize, this is the end of this paper, and it was out of 100 marks. It is long. I know. Just go through this whole video again and again. You can pause it in 24 minutes pockets, so that, remember, anything you do hours and hours, you're not going to benefit anything. So just play this video in 24 minutes pocket, remember where you left, and then continue from there until you finish this whole paper. We have come to the end of our lesson. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you have not done so. Share this channel with your friends and colleagues if ever, so that they can also benefit from this channel. And remember, there are many resources that you can find for online learning for your mathematics N1. If you want us to assist, you can go to our website, which is www.24minutelesson.co.za, and we can be able to assist you. Actually, it's www.24minute.co.za, but you can get more information at the end of this video. You get more info. Stay tuned. Thank you. See you again next time.